and welcome back to Wamego. On today's video, we will be discussing Built Capital and the resources it can bring to a community. Built Capital looks at how a community's infrastructure, public utilities, housing, public services, and land use all contribute to the productivity and development of a community. This can include things like the condition of roads, the level of fire and police protection, the capacity of water systems and storm drainage, garbage collection, phone service, and so much more. One big factor that contributes to a community's built capital is housing. Depending on the condition and the types of units provided, housing can either contribute or hinder a community. Here to talk about Wamego's housing condition is Terry Hollenbeck, who is the managing broker and owner of Crossroads Real Estate and Auction. Terry has served as a real estate agent in the Wamego, Manhattan area for over 11 years. She grew up and participates in the community and has a great passion for the success of this town. Here is Terry with a brief description of the housing market of Wamego.
The Wamego housing is primarily single-family residences. There are some new apartment complexes which have been filled a large need in the community. But primarily single-family housing and in good shape. I'm going to say we have very, very little vacancy. Rentals are highly sought after. I think Wamego is about a 30% rental, which is fairly low. The housing there's 2 mobile home parks. There are maybe 2 or 3, like 4 to 6 or 8 plex apartments, and then the new apartments out on the highway, which actually there's probably close to 100 units now.
In addition to the lack of rentals available to this community, Terry mentioned that there is very little vacancy in the Wamego community. Although this is generally a positive trait, part of the reason there is little vacancy is that there is no room for this community to continue to expand and grow. New developments are forced to develop in blue townships around this town, and this community has to rely on subdivisions for its expansion. Terry describes what this process has looked like and how it affects this community.
Wamego in itself is kind of, unless they expand the city boundaries, very full. It's very rare to find a vacant lot. So a lot of our housing is, and I think it's typical of a small town. We have the original township, which has the old homes, which we're very fortunate Wamego are in a great area, highly sought after, very well cared for, so they're beautiful, which is nice. And then as the town grew, of course, then in the 70s there's a subdivision, in the 80s there's another subdivision, and you see that. Now you see more on the outskirts, the rural subdivisions popping up and the big homes.
Even with the expansion of subdivisions, the housing located in this community is still quite expensive. Terry discusses why Wamego's housing is as high as it is and how it compares to other communities in the area.
Wamego is expensive, is the short answer. And Manhattan is expensive. And it used to be Pot County's taxes were enough lower than Riley County that was a benefit of living a little bit further outside of Manhattan. Taxes are very similar now in the communities, other than because we don't have the newer subdivisions, we don't have what are called special taxes by the developers. So that does make us more affordable in that. The house itself, though, our Manhattan MLS is the highest in the state. We have the highest average price. Special taxes are when a developer opens a new area to build homes in. He can go in and work with the government and get what is called a special tax in the homeowner. So if the developer owns it, he pays for it until a homeowner buys it. But that's how they fund the curb, gutter, sewer lines, utilities. So they tend to last 15 to 20 years and then go away.
Even though Wamego's population is small, the community still has all the utilities an individual would need. Terry explains how there may be less options available, but the services offered are still quality.
Pretty much one-stop shop there in Wamego. And Wamego is unique and they own their own power as well. So the electricity is provided by the city, sewer, water. Trash, there's 3-4 different providers in the area. You get to pick your own trash and pay for it. As far as internet, that sort of thing, WTC is the primary company.
The housing market in Wamego presents a lot of difficulties when it comes to availability, the rent-to-own ratio, the price of owning a home, and the utilities available. Even with these challenges, though, there are still many benefits to living in this community. To end our time, Terry was sure to describe why living in Wamego is a great thing and how people who live here are still very fortunate.
We're fortunate in the fact because it's such a desirable area. The homes are well kept, they're well maintained, they're cared for. So even the older homes you feel good about moving into and feel like there's still a strong structure there. They, have been maintained, which is huge. They haven't sat vacant. So I think we're in good shape that way. Other than I think we're very, very fortunate to live in the Midwest, where we still, can I say this, leave our houses unlocked. We trust our neighbors, we know who they are, we take care of one another. We have a very quaint way of living I think than other parts of the country, and I I wish more people got to experience that. It's a great place to be.
Thanks again for joining us on Welcome to Wamego. We hope that through the community capitals, the interviews presented, and the information afforded, you have gotten a small glimpse of this community and the magic that happens here in the small town of Wamego.